The cold bite of a New York City winter pierced the air as a frail, weathered hand reached out, trembling, toward a sharply dressed man stepping out of a sleek black SUV. The man's name was John Kennedy, a well-known philanthropist with a reputation for icy indifference, his tailored suit and polished demeanor a stark contrast to the tattered figure before him. The homeless man, his face etched with years of hardship, looked up with hollow eyes and a voice cracked from disuse. "Can you give me $1?" he rasped, the simple plea hanging heavy between them. Passers-by slowed, curious, expecting the usual brush-off from a man who'd built his fortune on calculated decisions rather than compassion. But what happened next left the crowd stunned, their gasps echoing down the bustling street. His name was Marcus, though few knew it anymore. Once a factory worker with a steady job and a small apartment, Marcus had lost everything when the plant shut down 5 years ago. Addiction had crept in as a coping mechanism, and with it came the spiral: lost savings, estranged family, and a life reduced to begging on street corners. That morning, with frost clinging to his threadbare coat, he'd spotted John Kennedy, a figure he recognized from news headlines about corporate takeovers and lavish galas. Desperation fueled his request, but he braced for rejection, as he had so many times before. John, on the other hand, was on his way to a board meeting, his mind preoccupied with profit margins and stock prices. Yet something in Marcus's weary gaze stopped him cold. For a moment, John didn't respond. The silence stretched, thick with tension, as the crowd held its breath. Then, with a furrowed brow, John reached into his pocket, not for $1, but for his phone. Murmurs rippled through the onlookers, some assuming he was calling security. Instead, he dialed a number and spoke in a low, urgent tone. "Yes, it's John Kennedy. I need a team at 5th and 42nd now. Bring supplies, food, blankets, and a medical kit." He hung up, then turned to Marcus, his expression softening in a way no one had seen before. $1 won't change your life," John said, his voice steady but laced with an unexpected warmth. "But I can." Marcus blinked, disbelief warring with hope in his chest. He'd expected a coin or a cold shoulder, not this. John didn't stop there. He sat down on the icy curb beside Marcus, ignoring the gasps and whispers from the crowd. "What's your name?" he asked, his tone genuine. Marcus hesitated, then whispered, "Marcus." That single word unlocked a floodgate. John listened as Marcus poured out his story. The lost job, the addiction, the nights spent shivering under bridges. John's own past flickered in his mind, a childhood marked by poverty, a mother who'd worked 3 jobs to keep him fed. He'd clawed his way out, but he'd forgotten the struggle until this moment. Within 20 minutes, a van pulled up, and a team of volunteers spilled out, carrying steaming trays of food and thick blankets. A doctor checked Marcus's frost-bitten hands, while a social worker handed him a warm cup of coffee. John stayed, coordinating with the team, his suit now dusted with snow, but his focus unwavering. The crowd, initially skeptical, began to clap, their phones recording the scene that would soon go viral. But for John, this wasn't a performance. It was a reckoning. He realized his wealth had insulated him from the humanity he'd once known, and Marcus's plea had pierced that bubble. The challenges weren't over. Marcus's road to recovery would be long. The addiction clung to him like a shadow, and the social worker explained the need for a rehab program, housing and job training, resources. John could provide, but that required time and commitment. John faced his own hurdle, the risk to his reputation. His board might see this as a distraction, and the media could spin it into a scandal if he failed. Yet as he looked at Marcus eating a hot meal, a spark of determination ignited. He pledged to fund a local shelter and personally oversee Marcus's rehabilitation, vowing to turn one act of kindness into a movement. Weeks passed, and the story evolved. Marcus entered a rehab facility, his first steps shaky but supported by counselors John had hired. John visited weekly, bringing not just money but time, playing chess with Marcus, listening to his dreams of becoming a mechanic again. The shelter grew, funded by donations sparked by the viral video, and John's board, seeing the public support, reluctantly backed his new focus. Marcus faced relapses, nights of doubt, but each time, John was there, a steady presence reminding him of his worth. The transformation was slow, marked by small victories. A sober day, a job interview, a reunion with a sister who'd thought him lost. By spring, Marcus stood in a modest apartment, tools in hand, working part-time at a garage. John, now a regular at the shelter's openings, watched with pride. The video had garnered millions of views, but the real change was personal. At a community event, John took the stage, his voice breaking as he addressed the crowd. "I gave Marcus more than $1, he said. He gave me my humanity back. One act of kindness can ripple outward, lifting us all." The audience rose in applause, tears in their eyes, as Marcus joined him, a symbol of hope reborn. The message was clear. Compassion, not charity, was the true currency of change, inspiring everyone to look beyond the surface and see the person beneath.